Today's Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry, I do not have the certificates for you. Representative Lawrence, Representative Landgraf, and Representative Kraft-Tharp. Mr. Randall, please call the
Representatives
roll.
Arndt, Baker J, Baker K, Beckman, Benavides, Bridges, Buckner, Carver, Catlin, Coleman, Covarrubias, Danielson, Escar.
Good morning, Connor.
Good morning. Everett, Exum, Foot,
Mike Foot.
Foot.
Excused.
Garnett. Janal. Gray. Gray.
Excused.
Hamner. Hanson. Herod. Puden. Humphrey. Jackson. Kennedy. Kraft Arp. Landgraf. Lawrence. Lebsog. Lee. Leonard. Lewis. Liston. Lontine. Lontine. Lundeen. McKean. McLaughlin. Melton. Michelson Cheney. Mitch Bush. Good morning. Navarro. Neville. Nordberg, excused. Pabon. Pedersen. Rankin. Ransom. Rosenthal. Sane. Salazar. Sias. Singer. Singer. Thurlow. Valdez.
Good morning, Colorado!
Van Winkle. Van Winkle. Weissman. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Winter. Wist. Young. Madam Speaker.
Present. With 62 present and 3 excused, we have a quorum. Representative Weissman.
Good morning, Madam Speaker.
Good morning.
I have some late night words of inspiration and emotion.
Thank you.
Our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we might oft win by fearing to attempt. Shakespeare, Measure for Measure. With that, Madam Speaker, I move the reading of the Journal of Monday, May 8, be dispensed with and approved as corrected by our inimitable Chief Clerk.
All right, members, you have heard the motion. All of those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed signify by saying no. No. The motion passes. Announcements and introductions? Uh-oh. Any announcements or introductions? Representative Kraft-Harp, Representative Lawrence, Representative Landgraf, I got your certificates. You did such a good job with the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm so proud of you. All right. Seeing no announcements or introductions. I shouldn't have asked. Representative Pabon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and members of the Finance Committee. Remember that we have breakfast scheduled for 7:30. This is real. This is a real announcement. It's 7:30, which is approximately 7 hours and 15 minutes from now. But if you want to go after we're done upon adjournment of the House, we can do that too. It's up to you. We'll see you then or then.
Representative Melton and Representative Everett.
Thank you,
Thank
Madam
you, Madam
Speaker.
Speaker. It is not Bow Tie Friday.
No.
There you go.
Wow. Any further announcements or introductions? Seeing no further announcements or introductions, Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to proceed out of order for special orders.
We have to go back to special orders. And
Pabon.
Representative Pabon.
Madam
All right, seeing no objection, Representative Pabon will take the chair.
You get to go first, right? We're ready.
The committee will come to order. With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and on your iPads and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority or assistant majority leader. The coat rule is relaxed. Mr. Randall, Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to proceed for the consideration of Senate Bill 267.
Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 267.
Senate Bill 267 by Senators Sonnenberg and Guzman, House Representatives Baker K. and Baker J. concerning the sustainability of rural Colorado.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move for the passage of Senate Bill 267. I ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion on Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move Amendment L098 and ask it to be properly displayed.
L098 has been moved and is properly displayed. To the amendment, Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I noticed that in page 45, we don't have nearly enough business members represented. Not even nearly enough. So what this amendment does is going to add 4 members who are representatives of business that's purchase or otherwise provide health care insurance for their employees, appointed each one by the President of the Senate, Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Minority Leader of the Senate, and the Minority Leader of the House of Representatives. I ask for a yes vote on this. This is going to really make sure that there's parity and representation. Business is the lifeblood of Colorado. I urge a yes vote.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I ask for an aye vote. A no vote.
Okay, that's a no vote. Democratic members on L098. Is there any further discussion on L098? Seeing none, the question before us is the passage of L098. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. L098 fails. Seeing no further discussion on Senate Bill 267, the question before Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I've got in front of me a letter was actually written by Ken Salazar when he was the Attorney General. And this is referencing Article 5, Section 31 of the Colorado Constitution, where he actually says here in the letter, says, I have carefully reviewed Attorney General Duke Dunbar's 1966 opinion, concluding that bills raising and reducing tax revenue should originate in the House of Representatives under Article 5, Section 31 of the Colorado Constitution. He says, I believe that this reasoning of this opinion remains sound, and therefore he affirms it. So members, I think that this bill, as introduced, didn't raise revenue, but since it's gone through the process and has added different amendments to it, it has become a revenue bill. If you actually look at the drafter's guide, the Colorado Legislative Drafter's Guide, they give some ideas of what they consider revenue type bills, and anyone that lowers and increases. Let me find it here. All right, so right here in the Colorado Legislative Drafting Manual, they say phrases used to describe revenue-raising bills. Revenue-raising bills are those that levy taxes in the strict sense of the word. I think this bill does exactly that, among other things. Revenue-raising bills are those whose direct purpose is to raise revenue to defray the general expenses of the state government. I think this bill does that as well. It does, and there's several other terms in here that I think could apply to it. But because of that, so that we make this bill constitutionally sound that could actually withstand a court challenge to it, I move L039 and ask that it be displayed.
L039 has been moved.
So members, what this amendment does is they're getting it up.
Second, Mr. Minority Leader. Now it's properly displayed. To the amendment, Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And members, what this does is this actually strips out all of the revenue portions in this bill. As I stated earlier, any revenue-raising bills must originate in the House of Representatives. This bill obviously does not. So I think as written, this bill is not constitutionally sound right now. This amendment would make it constitutionally sound. I urge a yes vote.
Is there any discussion on L039? Representative Weissman.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I ask for a no vote on the amendment, and I would like to speak a little bit to the legal question that has been put into issue by the Minority Leader. Article 5, Section 1 of the state constitution simply provides that all bills for raising revenue shall originate in the House of Representatives. And it goes on from there. The first case note summarizes that a bill designed to accomplish some well-defined purpose other than raising revenue is not within the prohibition of this section, even though as incident to its main purpose, it contains provisions the enforcement of which may produce revenue. That case is Colorado National Life Assurance v. Clayton, 1913. 104 years later, that case is still good law. It has not been overruled or overturned. A little bit more from that case, 1913, Colorado Supreme Court. Plaintiff contended that a particular tax is a revenue measure and therefore unconstitutional. This is the court speaking. This contention does not meet with our approval. A bill designed to accomplish some well-defined purpose other than raising revenue is not a revenue measure, merely because as an incident to its main purpose, it may contain provisions the enforcement of which produces a revenue does not make it a revenue measure. Revenue bills are those which have for their object the levying of taxes in the strict sense of the words. If the principal object is another purpose, the incidental production of revenue growing out of the enforcement of the act will not make it a bill for raising revenue. And it goes on from there. In the sake of brevity, I won't keep reading. Our Supreme Court also considered this question in 1961. All right. In the case of Western Land Heights Corporation, the issue there was a local ordinance. The holding was similar to what we just heard. I've actually looked at the same drafting manual that the Minority Leader referred to just now. It mentions a number of cases going back to the U.S. Supreme Court in 1897, various circuit courts around the country in 1813, 1875, an Eighth Circuit case in 1899, again the Colorado case in 1913, and another Colorado case in 1917. The upshot of all of which is that a measure very much like the one we are considering in 267 with public policy purposes that happens also to raise revenue, but is not a general tax bill in the meaning of our long bill, is not within the umbrella of Article 5, Section 31. So, members, if you were around here 12 or so hours ago when the rain and the hail were coming down, you might have noticed a little leak over there in the corner, and the sergeants and others were scrambling around to find something to hold the water. All due respect to the Minority Leader, I do not believe that the argument that this bill is afoul of Article 5, Section 31 holds water. Please vote no on the amendment.
Seeing no further discussion on L039, the question before us is the passage of L039. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. L039 fails. Seeing no further discussion on Senate Bill, Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, one of my concerns about this bill is losing control of a significant part of our budget that impacts over 1.4 million people in the state of Colorado, abrogating our responsibilities. I think it's important that we understand that we're going to give our responsibilities to a 13-member board that is not elected, that's going to be accountable to a state board that is also not elected. And so, Mr. Chairman, I would like to move amendment, I move amendment L101 and ask that it be displayed.
L101 has been moved and is properly displayed to the amendment. Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On page 32 of the bill, it goes into great length about the hospital provider fee, now in the future going to be known as the affordability and sustainability fee, and how that fee can be increased. It says that if it is increased above the federal level, it must go to the committee that's going to be created. And so what this amendment does is that if it does go above the federal level, it would come back to the legislature so that we could review it in a bill and vote for it. If the hospital provider fee program goes away, because we all do know that there are going to be a lot of changes in Washington, and because much of the Medicaid is going to be block grant, the need to bring down additional dollars through a hospital provider fee to match Medicaid will probably be unnecessary. If the program goes away, then any fees that the affordability and sustainability program levies would have to come to the legislature in a bill to be approved. This is good government because it allows us to continue to have minimal oversight. In this bill, as they move the hospital provider fee, they actually add additional things that they're going to do with these dollars instead of just direct reimbursement. And I think the citizens that we serve would feel more confident in what we're doing if we have a check and balance on these fees. Colorado actually has levied the highest fees allowed by the federal government. Most states levied 1 or 2 or 3%. We went all in because we were very aggressively wanting to increase Medicaid in the past, different legislative bodies, and actually have implemented the 6% tax on those in hospitals that are ill and very vulnerable. I would really like to have this amendment approved. I do believe that it shows that we are willing to remain responsible to this fee and how it is spent. And I think, that's very important for Coloradoans. Healthcare is a big issue, and there are going to be a lot of changes. And as much as legislators, we should be involved with that, and we should be making budget decisions. So I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Becker Jay.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. If we stop collecting the fee on page 44 of the bill, this actually ceases to exist and any monies are refunded back to the hospitals, and we will not be going over federal limits. I'd ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion on L101, the question before us is the passage of L101. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. L101 fails. Seeing no further discussion on Senate Bill 267, The question before us is the passage of Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and good morning, members. Good morning to you. You know, Senate Bill 17-267 concerning the sustainability of rural Colorado is a very complex bill, a very broad bill, lots of moving parts here. And I think that for the sake of rural Colorado, from which very significant business had to leave the state in 2013 after a certain bill was passed that prohibited standard capacity magazines larger than 15 rounds in capacity. And I think it'd be a boon economically if folks were able to sell, transfer, and possess those magazines. And so I move L044 and ask that it be properly displayed.
Amendment L044 has been moved. And is properly displayed.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I would substitute L045 and ask that it be properly displayed.
L045 has been moved. As a substitute to L044.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And has been properly displayed.
So what this amendment would do for folks in rural Colorado is allow them to sell, transfer, or possess large, so-called large capacity magazines within the incorporated area, or actually what it would do is allow folks who lived in unincorporated areas and counties with 50,000 or less to go ahead and own and transfer those magazines. And I would ask for an aye vote on this amendment.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Humphrey. I appreciate your creative approach to amendment making, but I do not believe that these amendments fit under the title, and I ask for a title ruling.
The House will be in the committee of the whole will be in a brief recess. Committee will come back to order. The chair rules that L045 does not fit under the title. We're back to L044. Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Essentially, the same argument concerning the sustainability of rural Colorado. I think sustainability has to do in this bill in a very broad sense with very many issues, including increasing a tax statewide on marijuana, and I think that this bill actually benefits in a more targeted way. Well, it affects statewide, but it certainly benefits folks in rural Colorado. So I think that this repeal makes great sense for the entire state because the legislation never did result in an increase in public safety, as was the argument in 2013. So I would urge an aye vote on L044.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, Representative Humphrey, I appreciate your creative approach, but I do not believe that this fits under the title, and I ask for a title ruling.
The committee will be in a brief recess. Committee will come back to order. The chair rules L044 also does not fit under the title. Seeing no further discussion, Representative Rankin.
Well, Mr. Chairman, thank you. You know, this bill is about sustainability in rural Colorado. And a large part of rural Colorado is clearly not sustainable given the high cost of insurance, health insurance, directly related to hospitals and directly related to the health of our communities. So with that, I move L031 and ask that it be displayed.
L031 has been properly moved.
L031
and
creates
displayed.
one
Please proceed, Representative
statewide.
Rankin.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
Please proceed.
L031 creates one statewide insurance rates. Currently, the rates in rural Colorado, which we want sustainable, are as much as 40% higher than rates in other regions of the state. We studied this last year. We know it's doable. If we really want to sustain Colorado, we're losing population, we're losing small businesses because people cannot buy insurance. If you really want to sustain rural Colorado, this is the #1 issue, more important than anything else. I ask for a yes vote.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Representative Rankin. You ran a bill that did just this, I believe, a year ago, and I voted for it. And I appreciate the issue. Much of my district is really impacted by extremely high premiums in the rural parts of my district. However, this bill is not the place or opportunity to solve that. We've been having an ongoing debate about the many ways to fix that problem, and I hope some of those bills could make their way through the process, because we've talked about providing additional support for rural residents. We've talked about studying the issue more, There are lots of different ideas out there. This is not the place for this, and I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion on L031, the question before us is the passage of L031. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. L031 fails. Representative Rankin.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Let me try something else. If we can't help with insurance rates, maybe we can tackle one of the most important economic issues that we have, and that is tourism in rural Colorado. The Colorado Tourism Organization has a new
Representative Rankin, do you want to move
plan.
L048?
I move L048. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
L048 has been moved and is properly displayed to the amendment.
So
Representative
there is
Rankin.
a strategic plan for rural tourism. It includes helping with a grant program to actually develop destinations and then to market those destinations. Could make a tremendous difference. It's well thought out, input from all the regions, but it's not funded. This bill actually creates some additional funding, general funds, that could be allocated to this purpose. If we want to sustain rural Colorado, we have to actually promote rural Colorado, and this does that. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there any further discussion? Representative Becker J.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. There's just not enough room for all these people out there. I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion on L048, the question before us is the passage of L048. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. L048 fails. Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L01 102 and ask that they be properly displayed.
L012 has been moved and is properly displayed to L012. Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And this amendment won't even cost $5 million. What it does do is it makes sure that, and by the way, political subdivision means county, city, town service authority, school district, local improvement district, sanitation, fire protection, metro district, public corporation, special district. This just makes sure when people do go on agritourism that the metro district garbage guy doesn't have more firepower than our rural Coloradans do. So we asked to at least have as many rounds in our magazines as the Metro District garbage guy. This is obviously about sustainability. I ask for a yes vote.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Representative Sane, you're just as creative as your dear colleague, Representative Humphrey, and I appreciate that. However, I do not believe this fits under the title, and I ask for a title ruling.
Committee will be in a brief recess. Committee will come back to order. Chair rules L102 does not fit under the title. Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L100 and ask it to be properly displayed.
L100 has been moved and properly
Melton.
displayed. Seaplanes, Representative Sane.
Obviously, the General Assembly finds that and declares that Seaplane Pilot Project, created pursuant to this section, is a vital aspect of the economic and cultural sustainability of rural Colorado. Come on, Melton. I ran this for you.
Representative Milton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I rise in strong support of L01. God, L100? Really? Dear Lord. I can't even speak to this anymore. This is a good amendment. That's what I vote.
Representative Sane.
I think you meant to say Jesus. Jesus likes seaplanes.
All right, Madam Majority Leader, Representative Becker J.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And as I believe that we've had the seaplane discussion, I would say that this could actually harm the economy of rural Colorado, and I would ask for a no vote.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm here to back up my colleague, Rep. Jay Becker, and I ask for a no vote. This would absolutely harm rural Colorado by potentially introducing aquatic nuisance species in our reservoirs, and that is not a sustainable policy for rural Colorado.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In all seriousness, if you really wanted to ban zebra mussels and quagga mussels, you would ban boats, because that's who brings them in. Seaplanes actually have to land at an airport. They have decontamination procedures. They can't survive at those altitudes anyway. So all we're asking for is a couple lakes to land on. There's a lot of seaplane owners here in Colorado. It's a very huge economic boon to anywhere in Colorado, but also rural Colorado.
Madam Majority Leader.
Ask for a yes vote.
Representative Milton. Seeing no further discussion on L1, Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I just wanted you to just envision with me seaplanes flying over rural Colorado, dropping PMAGs like Liberty across the states. Vote yes on this amendment, please.
Seeing no further discussion on L100, the question before us is Representative Lepsock.
Members, we've been looking at this bill for a couple years, and now it's in the amendment before us. And let's be honest, let's be intellectually honest about what this amendment does. So if I get the amendment correct, you can only go from one lake to another lake. Is that what we have in this amendment? The bill actually said from one lake in Colorado to another lake, and make sure that the plane is inspected. Now, if that's the amendment, I'm a yes on this amendment. If that's not, my colleague from Aurora, if it's similar to what your bill stated, then I'll be a yes. But if it doesn't allow for an inspection, and we're not talking about going from one lake in Colorado to another, then it could be detrimental. But if we're talking about a seaplane being inspected, leaving a body of water in Colorado, and not leaving the state of Colorado and going to a different body of water in the state of Colorado, then there's nothing unsafe about it. And so I like clarification on the amendment.
Representative Milton.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And actually, that is exactly what this does. It does say that the plane has to be inspected for a specific body of water in Colorado, and it can't land in a different body of water. So that way you're not cross-contaminating. What I will say is airplane pilots, seaplane pilots are far more diligent in inspecting their boats or their pontoons and their planes more than anyone that would be using the water. Even if you had something on your plane, it would affect the aerodynamics of the plane. The plane does not fly right. Pilots are not allowed to drink when they're operating a seaplane as opposed to just a boater. Members, the pilot community is very, very stringent on making sure that their planes are debris free. So there is a fallacy when it comes to that this is going to spread noxious diseases. This amendment is a great amendment. I ask for an aye vote.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise in support of this amendment. Please remember that Colorado is the only state that does not allow seaplanes. 49 other states permit them. We are the only state that restricts seaplanes. It will add to the sustainability of rural Colorado. Think about it. The fees charged would be helpful to lakes that are scattered throughout rural Colorado. This is a plus to the state. And as we have said many times, the inspection is very thorough. The pilots are very invested in their planes. They truly want to make sure that the planes are absolutely clean when they land. And we also have established that when the planes fly in, at altitude, the mussels, which are actually what we're mostly concerned about being in Colorado lakes, the mussels cannot live at altitudes that the planes fly at. The states that have the highest incidence of seaplanes have zero incidence of zebra mussels. If you look at Wyoming and Alaska, they simply don't have them. So I urge an aye vote on this amendment.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I remind my colleagues that this bill is about the sustainability of rural Colorado, not the destruction of rural Colorado by the introduction of zebra and zebra mussels and other aquatic nuisance species. I can't think of many things that would be more devastating to many parts of my district. I represent Grand Lake. It would be horrible if we had a seaplane land there and introduce. It would be horrible for the West Slope. It would be horrible for the Front Range. It would be horrible for our water supplies. This is a risk that we cannot run in Colorado by potentially introducing ANS. I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion on L100, the question before us is the passage of L100. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. L100 fails. Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L033 and ask that it be properly displayed.
Well, you were organized. You were on this early. L033, that was like.
L033 has been moved.
I think since we're already in the hundreds, we can't go back.
I'll be quick.
And is properly displayed. To the amendment, Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As we know that in this bill, it currently lowers that cap to $200 million. There were objections raised in the Senate about the spirit of Tabor being violated and, of course, the constitutionality of it in general. And what this amendment would do is it would lower that cap to, as seen on the display there, $597 million and some change. So I would ask that for us to conform with the spirit of Tabor and with the Constitution that we would vote yes on this amendment. Thank you.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I ask for a no vote. We reached a compromise between both chambers, between Republicans and Democrats. We are absolutely honoring Tabor and honoring our Constitution with the reduction in the Tabor cap that's already in there. I ask for a no vote.
Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I rise in support of this amendment. We're looking on page 71, and that's the amount of money that's being transferred out of the hospital provider fee cash fund. This is the one that's not going to exist anymore, of course, because we're starting a new enterprise here that's different than the existing enterprise, but we need the money from the old enterprise to fund the new enterprise, which is, of course, is very different. And so this is the amount of money that is funding this bill. And it's anything less than this amount of money is an increase in the scope and the size of government. And that's exactly what Tabor was for, and the spirit of Tabor was exactly for that. So if you want to put money into the state of Colorado and then pull it out and put it into an enterprise, that's the same amount of money that needs to be moved, and that's what the cap should be decreased by. Anything other than that, obviously, is breaking with the spirit and increases the scope of government, regardless of how many people agree with that or would like it to be zero or would like it to be higher than that. This is the amount of money that it ought to be moved by. So I'm in support. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion on L033, the question before us is the passage of L033. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. L033 fails. Seeing no further discussion on Senate Bill 267, the Representative Wist.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move L043 and ask that it be displayed.
L043 has been moved. And properly displayed to the amendment. Representative Wist.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, since we're talking about the sustainability of rural Colorado, I'd like to talk to you about the rural Colorado where I came from. At least it's a shell of what it was when I grew up there. This amendment effectively repeals a mistake that this body made back in 2010 in HB 1365, which started the decline of the coal industry in the state of Colorado. If we're going to have sustainable rural Colorado, we need to have a sustainable, broad, diverse energy policy. I ask for your support of L043.
Seeing no further discussion on L043, the question before us is the passage of L043. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. L043 fails. Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've had a little bit of discussion here about this enterprise fund that this bill is establishing, and I would like to call into question the honesty that we're having with this enterprise fund. There's some language within this bill that starts out in section 17, but it starts to wind up a few pages later when it says the Colorado Healthcare Affordability and Sustainability Enterprise. That's the name of the enterprise that's changed from the hospital provider. Referred to in this section as the enterprise is created. So we're creating this here, but I would like to point you to a couple of interesting words that are used here. The enterprise is and operates as a government-owned business within the State Department for the purposes of charging and collecting the healthcare affordability and sustainability fee. That's the same thing that we used to do with the healthcare provider fee. And then leveraging healthcare affordability and sustainability fee revenue to obtain federal matching money. That's the same thing that the healthcare provider fee did. And utilizing and deploying the healthcare affordability and sustainability fee revenue and federal matching money to provide the business services specified in the subsections 2DI and 2D2 of this section to the hospitals that pay the healthcare affordability sustainability fee. That's exactly the same thing that we did with the healthcare provider fee. But while it's doing all the same exact duties as the healthcare provider fee did, it goes down on page 27, line 24, and says the repeal of the hospital provider fee program as it existed pursuant to this section before its repeal effective July 1st, 2017 by this Senate bill, which is 267. So, and then it creates the Colorado Healthcare Affordability and Sustainability Enterprise as a new enterprise. to charge and collect the same fee to do the same duties with the same powers. I would offer to you that this is not a new government-owned business, and I would therefore like to offer Amendment L072 and ask that it be properly displayed.
Amendment is properly displayed. Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. L072 strikes Section 17. 17 is the 27 pages of establishing a new enterprise with the same money, $597 million, that has to be taken out of the hospital provider fee in order to fund this new enterprise, because, and it will say clearly in page 28, when it says that the sustainability enterprise is a new enterprise and it's charged to collect a new healthcare affordability and sustainability fee is authorized by the subsection 4 of this section and provide healthcare affordability and sustainability fee-funded business services to hospitals, same one, that replace and supplement services previously funded by the hospital provider fee. And it's the creation of a new government-owned business that provides business services to hospitals as a new enterprise for purposes of this Section 20 of Article 10 of the state constitution. It does not constitute the qualification of an existing government-owned business as an enterprise for purposes of the same section. And therefore, because it isn't existing, it's new, therefore does not require or authorize the adjustment of a state fiscal year spending limit calculation. That's why we're able to maneuver the 200 million, even though it's 600 million that's coming from, because somehow in this language, it says that even though we're doing the exact same thing with the exact same money from the exact same entity, we're going to call it a new name, and therefore we're going to skirt every spirit of Tabor that says if you're an existing business and you move out to be another government-owned business, then you take your money with you and you lower the cap accordingly. But of course, that's not what we want to do, because we wanted to be able to deprive the taxpayers of $239 million of refund. So we need to be able to take the money out. And so therefore, we called it something new in this bill to do exactly the same thing. And I would urge, and I vote, to strike this section from this bill. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion on the adoption of L072, the question before us is the adoption of L072. All those in favor, please say aye. Those opposed, say no. No! Adoption L072 fails. Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move L104 and ask it to be displayed. I just bring this up because I'm sure that there was probably a mistake in having a safety clause in this bill, because the safety clause does not allow for the citizens to voice their concern if there is any angst about this, which I would think that, considering moving the hospital provider fee to an enterprise has been discussed for over 3 years with a lot of differing opinions about the constitutionality of this bill, or of the move of the hospital provider bill, but also some of the issues that I don't think are fully understood, and this would give citizens an opportunity. The business personal property tax credit which allows up to $18,000 of business personal property tax. That is very different than what we are used to in the state of Colorado. Most local governments in the state up until now has done an exemption because the paperwork to do, hiring the accountant to do the filings to get the tax credit back often is as expensive, costs the business as much as just as the tax. And so now we are requiring businesses to actually do the paperwork and get a tax credit instead of having an exemption. And I think that that will be very burdensome to businesses in the state of Colorado. So I would like to instead amend the safety clause out and add section 35. And this act would be subject to petition. Effective date. This act takes effect on 12:01 a.m. on the following day following the expiration of a 90-day period after final adjournment of the General Assembly. So that would be really early in August. Except if a referendum petition is filed pursuant to Section 1(3), Article 5 of the state constitution against this act or in item, section, or part of this act without such period, then the act, interim, section, or part will not take effect unless approved by the people at the general election to be held in November 2018. In such case, will take effect on the date of the official declaration of the vote therein by the governor. I just think that this gives us the ability to have our citizens really review this and analyze it. It has been somewhat controversial, and if they wanted to do a petition and take it to the voters, then that is the citizens' right in Colorado, and I think it would be appropriate for a bill that has been as controversial as this.
Seeing no further discussion.
Ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the adoption of L10. Representative Liston.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, I rise in support of L0. I can't read it.
104, sir.
104. Yes. You know, I mean, this is a good bill, but you know, let's let the citizens of Colorado, if this is as good as it purports to be, which you know does have some good measures into it, let's let the citizens decide on it. And you know, if they want to petition it, fine. I'm willing to take my chances. So I ask for an aye vote on L0104. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion on the adoption of L104, the question before us is the adoption of L104. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. L104 fails. Representative Leonard.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We in State Affairs have been having some discussions about business personal property tax, and it was one of the nice things I liked to see in this bill as we were hanging Christmas ornaments all over it to please everyone. And so we saw some business personal property tax exemptions in here. Unfortunately, they were credits and they weren't exemptions. And when you looked into the bill a little bit further, they were $18,000 worth of credits, up from $15,000. But then you have to apply for these credits and fill out another form in order to get your money back. When we're talking about exemptions, then that's something that actually helps small businesses. Small businesses below that exemption level do not have to fill out if you're at $18,000 and you have business personal property of $15,000, especially in rural Colorado. You're able to not have to fill out the form at all, not have to pay the tax, rather than pay the tax to the government and then go fill out a form to get your money back. So I would offer Amendment L103 and move Amendment L103 and ask for it to be displayed.
The amendment is properly displayed. Please proceed, Representative Leonard.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. This amendment does exactly as I explained. It takes the business personal property tax that's a credit and it turns it into an exemption. It's something that helps the small business personal property tax owner. It's great for rural Colorado. It helps sustain them in their businesses. And at $18,000, raising it from really $7,300, it helps small businesses not have to be able to file those taxes and therefore not have to pay them and then not have to fill out another form to ask for their same money back. And I would urge an aye vote on this. Thank you.
Representative John Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And members, I think that this amendment is something that I would absolutely want to do. The problem that we have here is if you do that, you're actually hurting rural counties. We have to do it this way so that we can backfill, the counties will get their money, then we can backfill the businesses. I know there's some paperwork to get that done, understand that. This was the most thoughtful way we could think of without hurting the rural counties and still getting you this tax money back if you need it. The other thing about this is, remember the 15,000 that we were talking about? If you went over the 15,000, you got nothing. The 18,000, it is up to the 18,000. You will get this as a tax credit. But we don't want to hurt those counties. We want to make sure that they get their money as they're going forward. This money will come from the state. I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion on Amendment L103, the question before us is the adoption of L103. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. L103 fails. Seeing no further discussion on the adoption of Representative Humphrey.
And good evening, members. Again, thank you, Mr. Chair. Good morning. I happen to have an amendment in my hot little hands. And what this amendment simply does, and I'll be brief, is refer this whole question of the bill to the people under referendum, which I think is not only appropriate, but the right thing to do, considering, let me hand this over.
Representative Humphrey, would you like to move the amendment?
I would like to move the amendment, Mr. Chair. I move Amendment L046 and ask that it be properly displayed.
The amendment is properly displayed. Representative
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So again, refer this to the people because of the tax questions involved, the fees, the Tabor issues, et cetera. So I think that it's certainly appropriate and that it's the right thing to do. So I ask for an aye vote.
Seeing no, not a majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I ask for a no vote on this amendment. The voters already gave the General Assembly the authority to raise marijuana taxes when we passed, I forgot the proposition number, I want to say AA. So we've already gotten that voter approval. I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion on Amendment L046, the question is the adoption of Amendment L046. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. Amendment L046 fails. Seeing no further discussion on Senate Bill 267, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 267. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. Senate Bill 267 passes.
Yeah, well, now it's passed it. There you go. It wasn't for you.
Oh, that's like cutting off.
Mr. Randall, please read the title of Senate Bill 299.
Senate Bill 299 by Senators Holbert and Moreno, House Representatives Van Winkle and Kraft Tharp, concerning the apportionment of income for state income tax for taxpayers with enterprise data centers in the state.
Representative Kraft Tharp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 299 and the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Appropriations Committee report.
The Appropriations Committee. Oh. There was no Appropriations Committee report. So I move Senate Bill 299.
To the bill, Representative Kraft Tharp.
So thank you, members. Under current law, some Colorado-based companies are inappropriately taxed on sales that occur outside of Colorado and have no connection to the company's business activities in the state. This has the effect of penalizing some Colorado-based companies that have made large investments in payroll, property, and operations by placing a higher tax burden on them, as well as serving as a disincentive to new companies to locate here. Senate Bill 299 takes steps to address this by allowing the Office of Economic Development and International Trade to enter into an MOU with companies that have invested $150 million or more in Colorado and change their tax methodology so that they are only taxed on sales that occur here in Colorado. Senate Bill 299 does not affect fiscal year 2017-18 budget and has a transition period of up to 8 years to move the taxpayer to a new tax methodology.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And members, I know it is 1:15 a.m., but this is a very important bill for the state of Colorado and for my home in Highlands Ranch. The problem this bill solves is simple. When you go to a store and swipe your debit or credit card, the transaction between you and your bank often goes through another business in between, such as Visa or MasterCard. Those businesses have data centers which help protect and secure those transactions. So think about it, members. If a Frenchman buys a loaf of bread in Paris in a marketplace, or a German buys a beer in a Berlin pub, electronic zeros and ones get sent around the globe and it goes through a data center. Some of those data centers are located right here in Colorado, in Highlands Ranch. In fact, we are the proud home of the Visa Data Center. Millions of transactions from around the globe per second come through Colorado. Our Department of Revenue has begun taxing those transactions as if they were sales here in Colorado, even though neither the business nor customers nor sales are in or even close to Colorado. This bill straightens that mess out. Yes, we should charge state taxes on activity here in Colorado, but for those in California, Texas, New York, Paris, Berlin, no. Members, cash is the way of the future. Isn't the way of the future, it's the way of the past. Electronic transactions, it's 1:30 in the morning.
1:15.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 299? Representatives.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Visa is at the forefront of the movement as we transition from cash to electronic payment. Also, members, in the past, San Francisco, New York, and Boston have been the financial centers of the world, but not anymore. Colorado will be the financial center of the future. This bill helps announce to the world that Colorado is open for business. I want to thank Governor Hickenlooper and his staff, the folks at OEDIT, for working with Visa, with myself, with Senator Holbert, and of course with the great Representative Kraft Tharp to find a true Colorado solution. Vote yes on this Senate Bill 299 before 1:30 a.m.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you. Did you say senator?
Representative Rosenthal?
Oh, okay.
Whoever.
Anyway, maybe someday. Anyway, thank you, Mr. Chair. So let's just say I rise with a concern about Senate Bill 299, and that relates to the fact that it really is quite a substantial sum from, and let's just say, so how much is it in the fiscal note? Let's just say, what is it? In fiscal year 2017-18, is that $500 million? Oh, okay, I was looking at the wrong one. So $1 million, and then in 2018, $3 million. That's quite a substantial sum. And you mentioned one company that the money would be going towards. Does that company really need that money? I mean, when it's a multi-billion dollar company, I think we need the money more than they do.
Representative Van Winkle.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I did mention one company, but this could apply to a lot of companies. The downright fact is that our Department of Revenue is mistaxing things that it should not be taxing. If a Berlin gentleman buys a beer in Berlin and his bank is in Berlin, just because the 0 and 1s go through Colorado doesn't mean we should be taxing it. We should be taxing the things that are happening in Colorado, but we are misappropriating We're mistaxing these things. This straightens it out. It's a good bill. Vote yes.
Representative Kraft Tharp.
Thank you. So, members, this is probably going to be my last bill of this legislative session. So, so I would like to take this moment to say thank you very much, and please support this bill.
Seeing no further discussion on Senate Bill 299, the question before us is the passage of Senate Bill 299. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. Senate Bill 299 passes. Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You did an awesome job. We should all give Representative Pabon a huge round of applause. I move to lay over the balance of the special orders calendar.
Seeing no objection, the balance of the calendar will be laid over as requested by the Assistant Majority Leader. Mr. Assistant Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
House will come to order. Mr. Randall, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, your Committee of the Whole Bakes Leave report has under its consideration following attached bills, being a second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 267, Senate Bill 299 passes second reading or revised, placed on calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1372 laid over understanding is placed on the calendar.
Representative Pabon. All right. Members, you have heard the motion. There are amendments at the desk. Shocking, I know. Shocking. All right. Let's start with the Representative Beckman amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, will you please read the Beckman amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole?
Representative Beckman moved to amend the report of the committee, hold reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Beckman Amendment L096 to Senate Bill 267 to show that said amendment passed and that Senate Bill 267 as amended passed.
Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the Beckman Amendment to report of the Committee of the Whole.
Properly
and
made.
ask for a yes vote. To remind you what this amendment did, in the bill, it discusses in the moving of the fee from the hospital provider fee to the healthcare affordability and sustainability fee. There is language that says that this is to increase the number of individuals covered by public medical assistance. Let's see if I have the right one. This amendment would change the word from increase to manage, because I think that's just good government, that we don't go out and try to increase our numbers of people in Colorado on Medicaid. And it also prohibits any future general fund expenditures for such purposes. We all know that the expansion of Medicaid and our match in the state has significantly impacted our ability to fund transportation and fund schools. This puts it into a more manageable system where we will really be careful about over-expanding these programs and really watching our general fund dollars. I would ask for an aye vote.
Any further discussion? Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Representative Beckman, for your amendment. As I spoke earlier, there's a lot we can do to manage the growth of our Medicaid dollars being spent, but this is not the bill or the place to do that. This is simply largely an accounting measure to move the hospital provider fee into an enterprise. And bigger policy questions about managing our Medicaid population should be subject to a more rigorous, different debate than here right now, where this is, this isn't a bill about the delivery of care or the number of people. It's just about trying to get it enterprised. So I ask for a no vote.
All of the amendments. All right. Question before us is a Beckman amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Representative Mitch Bush, please close the machine. With 21 yes votes, 43 no votes, and 1 excuse, the Beckman amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. That takes us to the second Beckman amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randolph, please read the amendment.
Representative Beckman moved to amend the report of the committee, hold reverse the action taken by the committee in not adopting the following Beckman Amendment, L097 to Senate Bill 267, to show that said amendment passed, and that Senate Bill 267 as amended passed.
Representative Beckman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the Beckman Amendment to report of the Committee of the Whole and ask for a aye vote. This is the second amendment, just to refresh your memory. Currently, the hospital provider fee is not shown on any bill. There's been a lot of controversy from the community that people that we serve, that if it is a fee, that people should understand what they're paying. This would add transparency, and it would require that the Colorado Healthcare Affordability and Sustainability Enterprise Fee must be clearly identified in a separate line item in each hospital bill. I would ask for an aye vote for transparency for the citizens of the state of Colorado.
Any further discussion? Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. So there are a couple reasons that this doesn't appear on bills. The first is that it's not a pass-through line item that patients have to pay for. As we heard in committee, I'm just dragging. As we heard in committee from testimony from one of the CEOs of a hospital, this does not get transferred as a line item to patients. So that's reason one. But reason two is it would actually show as a net savings to patients, so it wouldn't be on your billing statement. So this amendment in my opinion, doesn't make sense, and therefore I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the Beckman amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 26 yes votes, 38 no votes, and 1 excuse, the Beckman amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. Next up, we have the Representative Carver amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, would you like to read the amendment?
Representative Carver moved to amend the report of the committee, whole reverse the action taken by the committee not adopting the following Carver amendment, L093 to Senate Bill 267, so that said amendment passed, and that Senate Bill 267 as amended passed.
Representative Carver.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the Carver amendment to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Carver.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm not moving this again. Colleagues, this amendment would fully fund the Tier 1 project list. Currently, as you recall, the bill provides $1.8 billion. This will fund approximately 1/3 of the Tier 1 project list. This additional $2 billion, subject to voter approval, would be able to build out all those projects to be funded by a 5% of the state sales tax. Ask for your aye vote.
Representative Lundin.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, no matter how late the hour or how tired the laborers, the work of the people of Colorado must be done. This amendment, I think, brings into sharp focus an issue that we have been trying to grapple with, yet not getting our hands around from the first day of this session. I urge your support. Simple amendment, allocates money that is already being raised in taxes and applies that money to the Tier 1 projects of the roads and bridges of Colorado that need attention today.
Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, again, I sit here in conflict. I like this amendment. The transportation dollars that we have in this bill is just a start to the conversation. We know we fall far short of what we need. But considering what we went through to get this bill together and bring the compromise to the table, I'd ask for a no vote.
Question before us is the Carver amendment to the reports of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 24 yes votes, 40 no votes, the Representative Carver amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. Next up, we have the Representative Williams and Representative Ransom amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please read the amendment.
Representative Williams and Ransom move to amend the report of the committee, hold reverse the action taken by the committee, and not adopting the following Neville Amendment, L040, to Senate Bill 267, to show that said amendment passed, and that Senate Bill 267 as amended passed.
Representative Ransom.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the Williams and Ransom amendment to the Committee of the Whole.
Properly moved.
Thank
Representative
you.
Ransom.
This bill would actually keep the Medicaid expansion from expanding further. So what the original amendment had requested was that we keep the current threshold at 195% of the federal poverty level, and the bill actually increases it to 250 to 200 from 195 to 250% of the federal poverty level. So instead of expanding the expansion, we would just hold the expansion steady.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Ditto, good amendment, vote yes.
Any further discussion? Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine. Question before us is the passage of the Representative Williams and Ransom amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Please close the machine. With 26 yes votes, 38 no votes, and 1 excuse, the Representative Williams and Ransom amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. Next, we have the Representative Humphrey amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please read the amendment.
Representative Humphrey moved to amend the report of the committee, hold reverse the action taken by the committee, and not adopting and following Neville Amendment L034 to Senate Bill 267 to show that Senate Amendment passed, and that Senate Bill 267 as amended passed.
Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the Humphrey Amendment to the Committee of the Whole report.
Properly moved.
This amendment strikes not on page 37, line 4. Let's have it reflect the hospital provider fee on the bill, and let's do it for Representative Janak Joshi, everyone. Vote yes. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Representative Humphrey, we spoke about this a little bit earlier today. I think you're trying to say that the hospital provider fee should show up on bills. I've explained a couple times why that doesn't work. One, it's not a pass-through. Two, it wouldn't show up as a debit. It would actually show up as a credit. So I ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote on the Representative Humphrey amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Please close the machine. With 25 yes votes, 39 no votes, the Representative Humphrey amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. Next, we have the Representative Sane amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please read the Representative Sane amendment.
Representative Sane moved to amend the report of the committee, to reverse the action taken by the committee, not adopting the following Sane Amendment L100, Senate Bill 267, to show that Senate Amendment passed, and that Senate Bill 267 as amended passed.
Representative Sane.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the same amendment to the Committee of the Whole. And this is a great amendment. Seaplanes.
Representative Liston.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I rise in support of the Sane Amendment. I think seaplanes having the ability to land in Colorado, I know that the naysayers say, well, they're going to bring in the mussels and so forth, but there are procedures and mechanisms that will eradicate that, so we really won't have the problem. I think this is a good idea. It's time that Colorado move into the 21st century regards to seaplanes. I urge an aye vote.
Any further discussion? Madam Majority Leader Becker. Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine. And members, please proceed to vote on the Representative Sane amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Representative Sias. Please close the machine. With 22 yes votes, 42 no votes, and 1 excuse, the Representative Sane amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. Next, we have the Representative Williams amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please read the amendment.
Representative Williams moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole versus the action taken by the committee and not adopting the following Neville Amendment L033, Senate Bill 267, to show that Senate Amendment passed and the Senate Bill 267 as amended passed.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the Williams Amendment to the Committee of the Whole report. And members, this is a pretty straightforward deal. The $200 million cap would be moved to $597,380,996. There were serious objections raised in the Senate, and I raised them here, and I ask that we do the right thing and conform to the Constitution. I ask for an aye vote.
Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Just kidding. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thanks, Representative Williams. According to the Attorney General, according to several people, folks in the Senate who actually proposed a $200 million TABOR cap, this is actually constitutional just the way we did it. And this is where we found bipartisan support to enterprise the hospital provider fee, but also lower the TABOR cap to reflect the amount of spending that Medicaid expansion population has on the general fund. So that's the compromise we reached, and I think it's a good one. I don't think that lowering it to $573 million is the right thing for Colorado. And if we had actually done this at the time that the hospital provider fee was created, the TABOR cap would actually be $200 million higher than it is in this bill. So I ask for a no vote on this amendment.
Seeing no further discussion, Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote on the Representative Williams amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Please close the machine. With 21 yes votes, 43 no votes, and 1 excuse, the Representative Williams amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. Last, we have another Representative Humphrey amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please read the Representative Humphrey amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Representative Humphrey moved to amend the report of the Committee of the Whole versus the action taken by the committee not adopting the following Humphrey Amendment L046 to Senate Bill 267 to show that Senate Amendment passed and that Senate Bill 267 as amended passed.
Representative Humphrey.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I move this Humphrey Amendment to the Committee of the Whole report.
Properly moved.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And again, this is to refer to the people under referendum. I think that this is the right thing to do when we're dealing with these questions to do with taxation and Tabor and so on and so forth. And ask for your aye vote. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I think that it was made clear that we do have the power to do what we're doing inside of this bill as a legislature. I'd ask for a no vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the question before us is the Representative Humphrey amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 20 yes votes, 44 no votes, and 1 excuse, the Representative Humphrey amendment to the report of the Committee of the Whole is lost. All right, that is our last amendment. That takes us back to the approval of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Randall, please open the machine, and members, please proceed to vote. Please close the machine. With 50 yes votes, 14 no votes, and 1 excuse, the report of the Committee of the Whole is adopted. All right, announcements and Madam Majority Leader Becker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Great work tonight, everyone. Thanks for your patience. We will start tomorrow at 10 a.m. Today. That's today. Today at 10 a.m., Tuesday.
All right, announcements and introductions. Representative McKean.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Could I get everyone to stand, please, and give a round of applause for our incredible staff? Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And to help out our staff, members, before you leave, a reminder, please take all your folders off of your filing cabinet so they don't have to stay in file.
All right, Representative Nall.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Health Insurance and Environment will meet later on this morning after we adjourn from the floor. We have 2 bills, Senate Bill 300 and Senate Bill 91. So after the floor work, we'll meet. Upon the second adjournment, we will meet in 107.
Representative Lee.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Judiciary Committee, we will have one more meeting tomorrow upon adjournment for Senate Bill 12 and I think 21. But 2 bills tomorrow upon adjournment. Thank you.
All right, that's today.
Today. I misspoke. Today.
Any further announcements or introductions? Representative Wilson.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And for those of you like myself that are going to need prayers to get through tomorrow with no sleep, Bible study in the morning. No. Yeah, it's still in the morning. Yeah.
Any further announcements or introductions? Seeing no further announcements or introductions, the House will stand in recess until 10 a.m.